Europcar, my worst car rental experience ever. Need a car? Don't rent from Europcar. I have been traveling for most of my life for business and for pleasure. In that time, I have rented cars in the United States, but also in many other countries, including Germany, Croatia, Austria, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Panama, Singapore, Canada, Mexico, Chile, and probably a couple of others that I have forgotten. In total, I have rented cars at least a few hundred times. My go-to rental companies have been Budget and Thrifty. Even though these companies are American companies, they also operate internationally. Occasionally, I have rented from other companies such as Enterprise, Alamo, and Dollar. The way things are with brands, I understand that some of these brands may be owned by the same company. Unfortunately, on a recent trip to Europe, I rented a car from Europcar. This had to be one of the worst experiences I have ever had renting a car in 40 years in 15 different countries. Let me explain. We picked up the car at Geneva Airport. The car was wet when we picked it up, making it difficult to spot any damage. We inspected the car, and it looked fine. We drove to our destination. The car sat in a parking lot for 6 days. Then we drove back. Total driving distance was about 200 miles. When we returned the car, the Europcar agent went over the vehicle inch by inch. He noted some damage to one of the hubcaps. I did not recall damaging the hubcap, but was willing to accept responsibility. He then pointed to what he said was a dent in the door. There was no dent in the door. At most, it was the type of ding that someone opening a car door next to you might make if that car door hit your car door. I have never been charged by any rental company for that type of damage. To make matters worse, I could not see or feel the dent that the agent was pointing out. I even took pictures, and in the pictures you cannot see any damage. The agent insisted I was responsible. He filled out some forms and made me sign them, even though I wrote on the forms I was not responsible. I never received any communications from Europcar. Then, a few days after I returned to the US, Europcar charged my credit card $1,071.89. I disputed the charge with my credit card company. I explained exactly what I have explained above. Europcar refused my chargeback, without even so much as contacting me for my side of the story, my details, and so on. Again, the damage was not visible in any photograph, and I took 5 or 6 of them. I do not have much choice currently, but to accept the charge and pay it. However, I will never rent a car from Europcar again, and I would urge everyone reading this to never rent from Europcar. Not only did they charge me for damage that cannot even be seen in photographs, but their agent also acted like a robot and had the customer relations skills of Crowbar, and their customer service team that handles disputes basically did nothing other than to say I was responsible and did not even respond to my comments about photos and the fact you could not see the damage. Again, do not rent from Europcar. Their customer service is at the least terrible, and it may be they intentionally ding foreign travelers knowing that it is almost impossible to counter whatever extras they decide to charge. Do not rent from Europcar. Postscript. A colleague of mine thinks I should amend my article because he found an instance on the internet of someone who had a bad rental experience with Hertz. I accept that other car rental companies may also have bad service. However, I can only relate my story and the service I received. Hertz may be just as bad or worse.